So, Hare Krishna. I will slowly. Alles funktioniert? Russisch funktioniert? Aber die verstehen Deutsch nicht. So, Hare Krishna. So today we'll speak about quite interesting topic, and the topic is how to learn spiritual life from the nature. Because for everything else in life, we need a teacher to learn things. If you want to be a IT specialist or mechanical engineer, you have to go to a school. You cannot just read a book and you say, I'm a mechanical engineer, now I can design airplanes. So who will allow you to design the airplanes? Nobody. So you have to be authorized by a certain teachers. So in the same way, in spiritual life also, we need a teacher. This is technically or practically known as guru. Everybody knows guru nowadays. Of course, people are using and misusing this word, what guru means, or pandit. They're the political pandits. They're not pandit means the one who is very learned in spiritual knowledge. But anyways, people are using these words today. So, but in this particular case, we'll see how one can actually make spiritual progress by observing the nature. Recently, there was a question by a certain person who's sitting here, and he asked how these personalities who are very spiritually advanced, how can they see God everywhere? In this wall. Remember in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there was the description how this great demoniac person, Hiranyakashipu, asked his spiritually advanced son, "Where is your God? I don't believe." I said, God is everywhere. God is all pervading. Sarvata, his eyes and ears are everywhere. This is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvatakshi shiramukam sarvata shrutil maloke sarvamati vishyati. Meaning everywhere is God. So Hiranyakashipu, his father, said, I don't believe it. Isn't this in this pillar here? And the son said, yes. So he took a sword. Then I will kill him. And he struck the pillar. And out of the pillar came an amazing personality called Nrsimhadeva. So the question is, how can you see God everywhere? So to see God everywhere, we have to make first step, second step, third step. And Bhagavad Gita is a very wonderful book, translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and it's called Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is a translation we are reading, because Bhagavad Gita is considered 5,000 years old, and it's a classic of spiritual knowledge. So many different philosophers, learned persons in the past, particularly in Germany, they're actually reading Bhagavad Gita, by the way. All this Schopenhauer and many are reading Bhagavad Gita. So Vedas also, the Puranas, Upanishads. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 10, for example, Krishna says here, of all the radiant thing, I am the sun. So he wanted to say how everything in nature is actually him at the same time. So this is a little bit difficult at first to understand that God is everywhere, God is everything, but at the same time He's not in this and He's a person, a separated person. But he wants to make sure, the beginning at least, we have some concept of the greatness of God. So he said, it's very easy, we see a sun every day. So when we see sun, we think, oh, this is God. And therefore those who in India, those who chant to know Gayatri mantra, it is said this is a mantra dedicated to the Surya Narayan, to the sun God, the God who's actually Narayan, who's in the planet sun. So the seeing God, we think, oh, okay, seeing sun, we think, oh, God is there. So there are some other also things. Among the stars, Krishna said, I am the moon. So everybody sees the moon. So when we see the moon in the evening, we say, oh, this is actually God also. Not that moon is the God, but we call it energy, or his expansion of God. So this is the first steps, you can say. Of all the senses, I am the mind. Everybody has a mind. There's so many stories of mind, the psychology departments and all kinds of things. So this is actually all also Krishna. Then he said, of the bodies of water, I am the ocean. So when we go to swim in the ocean, or we drive by the ocean, we think, oh, Krishna is ocean. So this is just like you can say, first steps, how to see God everywhere. But this, what we want to talk today about, is not how to see God everywhere, but rather how to learn from the nature. Not just perceive it for ourselves. This is like a first step, you can say, the basic step of spiritual life. How to perceive something higher than me. We have on these tribal cultures, they worship, if the thunder strikes, they say, oh, this is God, thunder. We know it's not, but it's a representation. It's a one representation. Everything which is great, everything which is greater than us, to remind us that we are not the greatest personalities in this planet Earth. So this is the introduction, and we want to read this verse. Is this ready here? Shri Brahmana. So let's see. So we'll read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a very wonderful book. 11th canto, 7th chapter, text 32. So I will read one line and you can repeat after me. Shri Brahmana Uvacha. Shri Brahmana Uvacha. Santi me Guravo Rajan. Santi me Guravo Rajan. Bahavo Buddhi Upashritaha. Bahavo Buddhi Upashritaha. Yato Buddhim Upadaya. Yato Buddhim Upadaya. Mukto Tamiha Tan Shrinu. Mukto Tamiha Tan Shrinu. Now we'll go word for word. Shri Brahmana Uvacha. The Brahmana said, Santi, there are, me, my, Guravaha, spiritual masters, Rajan, O King, Bahavaha, many, Buddhi, by my intelligence, Upashritaha, taken shelter of, Yataha, from whom? Buddhim, intelligence, Upadaya, gaining, Muktaha, liberated, Atami, I wonder, Iha, in this world, Tan, them, Shrinu, please hear. So I'll read the translation. The Brahmana said, my dear king, with my intelligence I have taken shelter of many spiritual masters. Having gained transcendental understanding from them, I now wander about the earth in a liberated condition. Please listen as I describe them to you. So one more time. My Brahmana said, my dear king, with my intelligence I have taken shelter of many spiritual masters. Having gained transcendental understanding from them, I now wander about the earth in a liberated condition. Please listen as I describe them to you. So we'll not read the purport, but we'll go immediately to who are these spiritual masters, and actually who is speaking to whom. There's the story, the pre-story of this is there was a great king. He was walking once around his kingdom, and he saw a very greatly spiritually advanced person. And this person was just carelessly walking around. And this is also in India, it is known as Avaduta. Avaduta is a person who doesn't belong to any caste or any group or you cannot recognize where is he coming from. Because the society is divided, even here, so that society is divided by clothes. You can see which caste you belong, which community you belong, by the way you speak, by what you do. If you work in a sweet shop, obviously you're Vaishya, becoming to Vaishyas, or if you work like carrying things, on your head, that obviously you become to this worker class or Shudra class. So there's but this society is naturally divided, even everywhere, even even here, by the dress. You can see, oh, this person is dressed well, so it must be some little higher person. This person is, look like a street clothes, and so on and so forth. So this person did not look like any of this. That did not belong to anybody. Indeed, he was actually quite naked. Who is walking naked? Imagine you walk naked in the park and people immediately call the police. And then call the police and they say, we have a very strange person here. He's disturbing the public. He should be arrested. But the king, he actually, instead of arresting this person, he realized this person is actually very advanced. Because he saw he is not interested, in anything of this world. So he asked him, how is this? How did you become so advanced? How did you develop such spiritual knowledge? Because you don't belong to anything, to any groups, any school. In India particularly, this is what we have on their foreheads. This is called tilak. And in India, very easily, if you see a person what kind of tilak they wear, you know what kind of school they are belonging to. If they have one red point, or they have three lines like this, or if they have a whole face smeared, or they have nothing, or you can immediately know, oh, this is the Shankara Sampradaya, this is Ramanuja Sampradaya, you know exactly which school this person belongs to. So he did not belong to any of these schools. And he did not belong to any kind of a status of the priestly society. He did not belong to anybody, just like some random wild person in the forest. But he recognized this is the very special person. So he asked him, how? How did you make advancement? Which school did you go to? When two Indian, students meet, which school? Oh, I have a B, whatever. They immediately this shortcuts, and they all know, you belong to this. They immediately know what kind of, but what's your status in the educational system. But this person didn't belong to anybody. So he said, I see that you are not engaged in any religious activity. You don't do even anything. Because sometimes we see people do some rituals, or people do this fire ceremony, or they chant, or he didn't meditate, or he didn't do any of this. So how is this possible? What did you do? And so this is the answer. And therefore, the answer, this first is the answer to this question. He said, I have, here, one more time, with my intelligence, I've taken shelter of many spiritual masters. So he did not even have any particular guru. This is like a way outside of any kind of structure that we know, because spiritual master is necessary, teacher is very necessary for making spiritual advancement. But he didn't have anything. So he's beyond, this is called avaduta, beyond. So he said, but how I understood this, I gained transcendental understanding through following these spiritual masters. In this Bhagavatam, there are 24 descriptions, so we will not go through all 24 today, but we will go through few, just to have some idea. What is this? And he said, and now, because of it, I wander about the earth in a liberated condition. So this is the now story, what kind of spiritual master did he have? Before we start doing this, we have to understand one little tiny important philosophical point, that material energy is not separated from God. That is actually this Krishna's energy. In Brahma Samhita, there's a verse, Srishti Stiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva yasya bhuvananti vibhakti durga. Chaya means shadow. I said the external potency Maya, who is the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by people as Durga. So Maya Devi, this material energy, is actually also Krishna's energy, but it's just a shadow. Just like we have hand, and there's a shadow here on this now. You know, there's a shadow. So it's in one sense it is the same because it's moved by the spiritual energy, but it's actually shadow of the material, of the spiritual energy. But as such, is also not different from Krishna. You know, sometimes I read in one religion, particular world religion, it is said that God created this world, and this was such a big work that he became very tired. And he's like, oh, I cannot do this. So he left the world now to sit, and we are just standing alone here, no control, because God is taking rest after so much work. But this is in our philosophy, this is not so, because Krishna, he does everything effortlessly, everything without effort. So material energy is also created. Actually, he doesn't even bother much to create material energy, because material energy is just, I don't want to go into details, but this is in this pradhana form, material energy is just there, manifesting when Krishna desires. So material energy is also, it can be used to actually make spiritual progress. And Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, our teacher, gives this example. If you step on a thorn in India, walking barefoot, whoever walked the Govardhan Parikram, there's so many thorns, and you step and you think, aye. But you keep on walking barefoot. And so the best way is to take another thorn and to take this thorn out. So Prabhupada gives the example. So this is how we do. We use material energy to help us to get out of the material energy. So this is an interesting concept. And so therefore, by this is we're going to on with our story. I said, I've taken shelter of 24 gurus, he said. Number one, the earth. Guru is earth. The air is the guru. The sky is the guru. The water is the guru. Fire is the guru. Moon is the guru. Sun, pigeon, python, the snake, the sea, moth, honeybee, elephant, honey thief, the deer, the fish, the prostitute, pingala, the bird, the child, the young girl, arrow maker, serpent, spider, and a wasp. So all these things, you know, he saw something, he saw, this is how it works. Meaning that we have to, if we use this is called introspection. If we use introspection, we can actually see how this whole things work. The reason why people are not interested in spiritual life, because they're not using introspection at all. They sit and they are waiting for somebody to tell them, today is very sunny, oh okay. Next week you will be sick, oh okay. Whatever, you know, they tell us, and TV tells us. Next winter is becoming, you know, new pandemic, and we say, oh okay, we'll be sick next month. So somebody has to tell us, you know, and we are just, you can say, lazily sitting and not really inquiring who we are, what are we doing in this material world, and is this really all there is? There's eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Is there more than this? But most of the people they're not inquisitive. But this person was extremely inquisitive. So now he says, listen, my dear king, what did I learn from these gurus? So I will just mention few because the time is, you know, limited. So first is what he has learned from the earth. What can you learn from the earth? The earth is just standing, not moving. But he said, a sober person should never be distracted by the harassment of things which come. Because he should understand everything is under control of God. He should be as steady as the earth. So from earth, he learned how to be steady. He said, earth is, you know, like the mountain and the tree. he should dedicate himself to the service of others. Like mountain is actually, although mountain is the earth, is dedicated to the service of others. You know, in the mountain you can find the rivers, which supplies people water. You know, mountain is not obliged to give us water. Like we think, oh, this is the water, you know. No, it's not. The mountain is not obliged. I must give you water. Just out of the kindness, the mountain supplies water, and out of the kindness, the trees, they also give different fruit. So we get all these things for free, you can say. But we take it for granted, and we just go to the store and we think, oh, this is, you know, very expensive, or this is a good price, or this is from Turkey, or this is from Holland, whatever. But we forget that actually this is coming from the earth. The food we eat comes from the earth. The water we drink comes from the earth. So what did he learn from the earth is to be, first of all, number one, tolerant like the earth, and number two, to be dedicated to the service of others, to actually assist other living entities. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's a famous verse which says that this happiness and distress in this world are changing like winter and summer season, and they are non-permanent. There's no person who is constantly happy from the very beginning of the birth to the end of life, constantly happy. There is no such a thing. Usually there's some happiness, and then after that comes a little bit distress. But distress is also not eternal. Sometimes comes happiness. You know, even those who are, I think this famous painter Andy Warhol, he says, everybody has 5 minutes of their glory. So we all have at least 5 minutes of some kind of happiness that we think, yes, I am such a wonderful person, at least for 5 minutes in our lives. Some people longer. But the point here is that this happiness and distress are changing like the winter and summer seasons. And it's this happiness and distress actually only there due to our sense perception, because this is how we perceive it. And one must learn to tolerate this without being disturbed. So this is one of the goals of spiritual life, is to understand that happiness and distress are coming and going on their own accord. We cannot say, okay, now I don't want winter to come. We just sit there and we protest. We come out on the street with big billboards. Winter, you know, we don't want winter. This will do nothing. Winter will come. And the same way, summer. We don't want heat. You know, the summer will come. So winter and summer season will change. So the happiness and distress will change. We may try to do it better, to make it better, but somehow distress will come. Uninvited. Who wants to be distressed? You know, oh, I want to be. Nobody wants to be. If you ask, who wants to be distressed, and everybody lifted their hands. Nobody. Nobody wants to be distressed. But then we ask, who is distressed? You know, because this is the nature of the world, to be somehow distressed, at least at times, from time to time. So, but the spiritually advanced person, he just thinks, or she just thinks, well, this is just like a summer season. I tolerate the heat, 39 degrees in Köln, okay? We were 2 years ago, we were in the Dachgeschoss, ganz hoch, 39 degrees. And we were like, my God, we go down here, like, just to cool down a little bit. It's only 35, you know. so, but we have to learn how to tolerate it. Srila Prabhupada says in India, because in India is of course nowadays it's modernized, but at that time the people, even when I came to India first time, we were taking bath in this pump, you know. And in winter time in Vrindavan, in this area, Uttar Pradesh, so cold, you know, and you pump and you think, oh no, I don't want to take shower. But we have to take shower because we are, you know, devotees take shower in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, with pump. And then you this bucket in freezing cold. You know. The worst was in Punjab, actually. It was so cold, I never experienced such a cold water. And at the same time, in summertime, you have to cook. If you cook for the deities in the temple, you know, sometimes you cook with open fires. And imagine, India, anybody's been summer in India? Summer in India, especially Uttar Pradesh, you know, I don't know the other 50, 45, 50, once it was 50, 52. 52 degrees and you're standing there, you're just boiling, you know. But we have to, Prabhupada says, we have to cook for the deities. So this is our austerity. Because we perceive this is just ultimately is depend everything on sense perception. Of course, not only sense perception, but we have to learn how to not be disturbed. Another thing which is very interesting, Prabhupada says here, this is one letter that he wrote to one of his disciples, and he said, this is the lady, he wrote to her. And he said, just understand how degraded this age, this Kali Yuga is. You know, everything is so unnatural. The food has been grown with so many chemicals. So many chemicals. We eat this, you know, we think, oh, it's a nice broccoli, but it's full of chemicals. Every fruit, everything. We had once this plum. We had one plum, you know, we bought some plums, and this one plum, and I said, I will not eat this plum now, I'll eat it tomorrow. You know, and usually if you leave a fruit 1 day or 2 days, it becomes, you know, dry. But this plum was staying perfect. Shiny, round plum. You're like, this is weird, you know. I said, let's leave it a couple of more days. And we left another couple of days, shiny plum. And we left it 1 month. 1 month outside, shiny plum, not moved. You know, I said, I'm not going to eat this. Who knows what is inside? You know, the shiny plum. There was not undisturbed by the weather. You know, amazing. And there was a summertime also. So Prabhupada says this is degraded. So many chemicals. Prabhupada says actually in Kali Yuga, this is this age when we live. Nothing is pure. Nothing is pure. I mean, the water we drink, we buy water in the store, but this is not clean water. He said the air is polluted, the soil is polluted, the air, you know, and so many things are polluted. He said, but by firmly establishing Krishna consciousness all over the world, such unfavorable conditions will be stopped. And why? Because the love is a devotion to Krishna is the purifying agent and nullifies all the bad effects of the Kali Yuga. Simply let us offer to Krishna with love and devotion and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And our very existence will be purified. So we have to understand this. Okay, actually, all this, you know, there's so many, there's so many problems. If you just look at the news, whoever watches news every day, this is like, if you want to be depressed, this is the formula. Just look at news. Amazing. Everything is dark. Everything is dark, and everything is distress, and you think like, there's no hope for me. There's no hope. You know? And then if you just don't look at news, like we because I'm following the news, politics, whatever. And then we went to Austria to Padayatra for 1 week, and no news because we were all day out, you know, walking, chanting Hare Krishna 7 hours a day, 6-7 hours a day, and meeting so many people. Speaking from our books, reading, chanting, so much chanting. And then in the evening you come so tired, you have no time to look at any internet, anything. And then after 7 days, I think 10 days, how long we were there, no news. Suddenly everything was very good, wow, actually we met so many nice people, who are very, very friendly people, wow, the world is actually very nice, But once you read it, this is the darkness, the big clouds, like Indra's Samvartaka cloud is gathering. So therefore we should understand this and change our viewpoint. Instead of looking at this sukha and dukkha, happiness and distress, we should learn from the earth to tolerate this. Just tolerate it. And then instead try to apply spiritual life into our lives. So this is the first lesson to us, learning from the earth. If you have any question, think about the question, and then later on maybe you can ask. So the second is similar to this, is a lesson from the wind. So, this is how it goes. The transcendentalist is surrounded by so many different objects in this world, with good and bad qualities, of course. He said, but like the wind, one should never be entangled with them. When the wind carries aromas, never mixes with them. So this is the point here, that we should understand that this, whatever we have in our surrounding, first of all, our body, that we have our body, we acquired, or we were awarded this body by somebody else, by the material nature. We didn't say now we're sitting and I want this body. Next my birth, I want this body. We didn't do this. We just somehow happened to be conscious in this body, and these people said, "We are your parents." Oh, okay, you know. And then suddenly you have to go and register yourself, you know. And then suddenly you are the supporter of such and such a cricket team, whatever, you know. And you said, "This is my country against the whatever, this country, and this is my land," you know. So the point is that we are thrown into this world, and then we are, with our body come all kinds of different objects, you know. If someone is born very, very rich, he has a very nice car. When he's 16, gets a nice car as a birthday present. When somebody is not rich, they get nothing for the birthday, you know. So different things we have surround us, different things. We have a different, you know, somebody is born in an apartment, somebody has a house, somebody has a... So these are all objects where we are awarded with our body. This is called karma. And this is the only explanation why somebody is born rich and why somebody is born poor. There's no other explanation. That somebody is born so unfortunate, such a terrible life as a young child, you know. This is because of the bad karma. So, but the transcendentalist should always be aware that I'm actually not the body. And all these things which comes around me, so these things are only, I should not be attached to them. Attached to them means I should not think that, you know, I can, as, you know, we think, there's a one very famous, Prabhu was saying this very famous song, Das letzte Hemd hat leider keine Tasche. This is a song from the 50s. I heard this song. The last shirts, you know, there's no pockets, you know. And the last shirt is that when we go back to God, we cannot take anything with us. Anything, all this gold and nothing. Money, houses, Porsche, cars. We cannot take anything with us. Anything. We'll end up just like anybody else, as this very famous story on Gogol, Nikolai Gogol, this Russian author, and six feet of land. This is all we can get. You know, whether you are most richest, whether or not you get 6 feet of land. You know, that's it. That's it. This is how much land you can get. You cannot get more. You know, some traditions in America, in New Orleans, they have, I don't know, I've seen it. They have like these graveyards, like a big house. They build a big house inside. You have all kinds of amenities, and they expect people to somehow be there, but it's not happening. So the point is here that like a wind, the spiritually advanced person sees this like a wind. Okay, I see these things and I use them, but I'm not attached to any of them. Because at any moment, you know, if anything happens or whatever, that we need to leave this body, we cannot be attached to a particular object. We cannot bring anything with us. We cannot bring our wonderful house with us. So this is a little bit subject of different, more deeper discussion. Like, of course, we don't just give up everything and we go to the forest. We'll be arrested in the forest immediately, you know, in Germany especially. So don't go to the forest, but we can use this in our own needs, whatever we need for Krishna, for our service, for our spiritual advancement. But we should always understand that nirmama, this is not mine. I'm just using because it's given to me by the material energy, and I will use this in Krishna's service. That's all that is. Because we need, as an international society for Krishna consciousness, all different kinds of people, and somebody brings different kinds of things with them. Somebody brings bad things, somebody brings good things. We have in our society a very famous devotee. His name is Ambarish Prabhu. His legal name is Alfred Ford. He's the great-grandson of the Ford company, the car company. And, you know, Ford is everywhere. So as a grandson of the Ford, he inherited large amounts of money just by being born there. You know, I was also born, but I didn't get, you know, much, you know. And he was born, same birth, you know, he was born, but he got so much, you know. But the point is that he met Srila Prabhupada. And by meeting Srila Prabhupada, he had this desire to help Prabhupada in building the temple in Mayapur, which is called Temple of Vedic Planetarium. And he invested several million dollars. You know, I don't know, speculation, so many, this hundreds and that hundreds. And he also collected, he was going to other rich people of his caliber, and he was asking, can you give donation? Can you give donation? Can you give donation? So, because this is his capacity. Everybody has certain capacity in spiritual life. Somebody does not have capacity to have millions of dollars, but you can wash a plate. You have this lady who washes every Sunday, she washes plates. Huh? Anjali Mataji. Anjali Mataji ki jai. Every Sunday, no fail. So this is the amazing thing what she can do. So the point here is that we should learn from the wind. All these things what we have, we should understand this is just because we are awarded and we should not be attached. So this is the wind. The time is running. Let's do the water. Learning from the water. What can we learn from the water? So this sage is explaining the saintly person should be like water. Why? Because water is free from all contamination. Number one, water is pure. Originally, water is pure. We know when we recently went to one mountain and there was water there, just stream. And Nitya said, let's drink it. I said, I don't know, this is maybe... And she said, what can be wrong? It's a mountain water, you know. So we drank, and I was thinking, okay, now I'm gonna die, you know, I'm gonna get... Nothing happened. So next day we came and we fill up our bottles and we're drinking this water. Because the original water is pure. Although water comes from the earth and goes through all kinds of earth and bugs and whatever, it's pure. So, number one, the water is pure, free from contamination. And water is gentle by nature. Water is very gentle. It says this, the water is, you know, water can break the mountains, but just slowly. Little by little, and water just takes over. But it's gentle in general, not when hurricanes, this is an extraordinary. Mild? What? Mild?
Like gentlemen.
So it's a gentle by nature. So therefore, when the holy person, the spiritually minded person speaks, vibration should be beautiful like the flowing water. So this is how the spiritually minded person speaks. And why? Because the message which comes from the mouth, the word which comes from the mouth of a spiritually advanced person, are meant for the ultimate benefit of this person, to who hears this. It serves like a nectar, ambrosia of life. Ambrosia of life. So it is said here, by seeing, touching, or hearing a saintly person, the living entity is cleansed as if coming in contact with pure water. So by seeing the saintly person, water is very, very calming. You know, we had in our Goloka Dam, where we stayed, under our window was the little stream. And it was very nice to sleep in the evening, just hear, it's very calming, to sleep very nicely. And then, so by seeing the water, by touching the water, you know, water touching is always very purifying. Or hearing the water is very purifying. So this is how a saintly person can become, when people see him or her and touching or hearing, as if person becomes cleansed, just like seeing the pure water. So, for this, I want to quote only one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the first canto, 13th chapter, 10th verse. Bhavat vida bhagavatas tirtha bhuta svayam vibho tirti kurvanti tirtani svanta stena gadabrita. This is a famous tirti kurvanti tirtani. This is a famous line. And the point here is, this devotee was addressing Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a great sage, very great sage. And he addressed this Narada Muni as Vibho, as you are a powerful person. Because the spiritually advanced person is a very powerful person. We know in so many stories in Srimad Bhagavatam, very great sages, if you actually say something wrong, they will curse you and you become a duck. May you become a duck. And you just quack, quack, you become a duck. So they're powerful people, very powerful personalities, isn't it? Vasishta Muni, So, and he said, may you become a bird. So they were fighting because a bird and a duck. So you're a very powerful person. And he said, your good self, Bhagavata, as devotees, a tirtha bhuta svayam. You converted yourself into a holy place. So this person, spiritually advanced person, is not anymore, as we say, no regular more Joe Schmo, as they say in America. You're not anymore just another person. You actually converted your body, yourself, into a holy place. And therefore, tirti kurvanti tirtani. You, when people see you, they are visiting you is like visiting the holy place of pilgrimage. And why? Because svantastena gadabritaha. Because you are carrying the Lord, you're carrying Krishna in your heart. So therefore, this your personality becomes transformed into tirti kurvanti tirtani. Your body becomes a spiritual pilgrimage place. And therefore it is advised when somebody wants to go to Vrindavan or the holy place, not just to go there and touch the feet or whatever and offer garland to Radha Shama Sundar, buy some sweet and give sweet, but actually you should stay and listen from the actual sages, from devotees. And therefore in our temples we have Srimad Bhagavatam lectures, evening lectures, Bhagavad Gita lectures. So it's actually advised to hear the transcendental knowledge, not just to, as Prabhupada says, not just to bathe. We go and bathe in the Ganga and I'm done, which is wonderful. But this is actually the purpose. To visit this holy place, to visit the pure devotees, Prabhupada said, residing in such holy places, take lessons from them and try to apply these instructions in our life. So this is, I think there's many nice. I only mentioned like 3 so far. We have another 21 to go. But we can do this some other time, maybe as a matter of some kind of seminar, a little longer time, couple of days. Just as a conclusion, we can mention also fire. What did this sage learn from the fire? And he said, the fire is known as a burning thing or purifying thing, or fire is burning. I said, even if a saintly person eats contaminated food by chance, he is not affected, just like the fire that burns the contaminated substances that are offered to it. And the point is that fire is sometimes concealed, sometimes open. Like for example, Prabhupada gives example like wood. Wood actually contains fire. The potentiality of burning is in wood. So just when we started fire, the wood will start burning. So where is it coming from? Because potentiality in this wood to be fiery is there. So this is the point, Water doesn't have a potentiality of fire. So in the same way, Prabhupada gives this example, or this particular verse, what can we learn from the fire, is the spiritually advanced person sometimes can be seen, sometimes cannot be seen. We cannot recognize him. And sometimes, again, when we went to this Harinam, so this Austrian village, and then first 10 minutes we just arrived, and immediately the shop owners called the police. There's some very disturbing elements. They should be arrested. They're singing, you know. And there was like 15 devotees singing Hare Krishna, but this was immediately arrest him, you know. So the police came, of course. There were 3 different calls within the first 10 minutes. So the police came and they said, "Oh, you are Hare Krishna, very nice. I like very much, you know." The policewoman, she said, "Oh, I like yoga. I do yoga also." They said, "Let these old people, you know, they don't, you know, you can just do whatever you like. They let us, you know, we just sing. Everything is wonderful." You know. But the point here is that these people who called the police, they could not recognize us as that. They see us as the disturbance. So they did not see the potentiality of fire in us, or spiritual fire in us. But the policewoman, she saw, "Wow, this is very cool," you know. She actually liked it, you know. So the point is that from different perspective you can see it. And I wanted to just give 2 examples. Some very interesting person, it's called Ashtavakra. Anybody knows Ashtavakra? It's a famous sage in India. He wrote in Ashtavakra Gita, the book. And Ashtavakra is a very, very advanced personality. But due to some reasons, I don't want to go into too much details, he was born in Ashta. In 9 different places he was kind of broken. In knees, in hips, in 8 different Ashta, 8 different places. So when he would walk a little bit awkward, you know. So then, you know, when you see this person, you think like, this is some, you know, behinderte, you know, they cannot. But actually he was a very, very great sage. And one person laughed at him once and he got cursed and so on and so forth. Because Ashtavakra was actually very, very advanced personality. And the second example is a very even more humorous example. It's Lord Indra was once walking and he saw very small people. They were like as small as half of a thumb. So they were small people. And he saw them, and these small people somehow couldn't find proper way, and there was a cow hoof print. You know, the cows were walking, and there was a hoof print, and there was some rain, so inside of the hoof print was the water. So these little people, they fell into the hoof print of a cow, and they were like, "Oh my God, what are we doing now?" You know. So the Indra started laughing at them. Look at them, you know. Look at these little people, you know. But actually, these little people came to be like very, very powerful sages. It's a long story, but somehow the situation was like, you know, even, and they did not curse Indra because they were supposed to curse Indra. So instead, they did sacrifices. So the Garuda was born. This is how Garuda was born, by the power of these sages. So the point here is we cannot understand unless we have a transcendental vision which person is a spiritually advanced person, you know. Because, you know, somebody may look ordinary, you know, somebody may look, but actually, you know, maybe a small person, but actually it could be very advanced. So this is what we can learn from the fire. So therefore, we should be respectful to every living entity. We should be respectful to every person, knowing well that everything, all is actually energy of Krishna, and every jiva soul is actually part and parcel of Krishna. So this is just at least the beginning of the interesting discussion. What we can learn from the earth, what we can learn from the wind, what we can learn from the water, and what we can learn from the fire. So these are only 4 gurus. We have 20 more to go. So I think this is good. I thank you very much for your attention. Bitte? Afhagen. So if there's any questions, you can think about it for 30 seconds. What can I think? What can I ask that will be relevant to me? Because this is a good to ask question, not because you know, the speaker needs to have questions, but the point is that we have to actually maybe learn something. At least the lady in the back.
Was können wir vom Äther lernen?
Bitte?
Was können wir vom Äther
Vom Äther lernen. Yeah, from Äther, das ist der dritte. What can we learn from the ether? This is a question. So this is the number 3 guru in this. This is called a sky. From the sky, although it extends everywhere and everything rests, it does not mix with anything. So the soul and super soul have the same quality. The sky is never implicated or affected. The living entity is never affected through it may enter the body or material elements, meaning that the soul, although living in this material world, has actually nothing to do with this material world. This is what he learned from the ether. So I think this is this okay? Thank you. Who do you do this?
Wie und was können wir von dem spirituellen Meister lernen? Wie sollen wir lernen und was genau?
The question is, what can we learn from the spiritual master and how? Well, we can learn from the spiritual master everything. We can learn from the spiritual master how to make first steps in spiritual life, and we can learn from the spiritual master how to become perfect, complete, and attain Krishna Prema. Spiritual master, you see, Prabhupada, once they asked Srila Prabhupada, when we die, when we leave this body, are we going to unite with you and be eternally with you? Because you are our eternal spiritual master. And Prabhupada says, maybe, but maybe not. He said, because there are so many different rasas in the relationship to Krishna, and we may not be in the same rasa. But then he said a very interesting point. He said, spiritual master is a principle. Spiritual master is not the body. So not that we now think, oh, spiritual master, I don't care, But spiritual master is not one. Spiritual master, as we see here, spiritual master is many. We have different acharyas, we have different people, actually associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are not different from each other. So sometimes, we learn from spiritual masters something, but then we can learn from somebody else by the grace of our spiritual master. For example, if our spiritual master leaves the body, Prabhupada left the body. So then what did they going to do, their disciples of Prabhupada? They have to take the instructions of Prabhupada through his books. And some people take shelter of some advanced disciples of Prabhupada. But some don't, So different people have different ways of making progress. And Krishna and Prabhupada will send the help. If we need to learn, Prabhupada will send the help. We'll find maybe another Shiksha Guru, or maybe we'll find something that we read and we found very inspiring to us to make spiritual progress. Or maybe we'll have in our dream, Nityananda will come and they will say, Haribol, I want you to go to Aachen, whatever, and start and build a huge temple. I don't know. Hare Krishna. Okay. Noch was? Yes.
My question is that you mentioned that we go to Dham and not just look at the temple or the deities and put some festivals. The most important thing is to associate with sadhus.
This is what Prabhupada says, yes.
So what's the meaning of associating with the sadhu? What exactly is the essence of association? Because it's not just going there and sitting with them, right? What is the essence? How should we associate? What are the etiquettes to associate?
The essence is the Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadashara. So, Tadvidi pranipatena, we ask a question. Again, these questions are not just to satisfy our curiosity. This question is a pariprashnena sevaya. How can I improve my spiritual life? What can I practically do to improve my spiritual life? This is the actual question. The actual question, as Prabhupada asked his guru, his spiritual master in 1936, when his spiritual master was in the deathbed, leaving the planet, and then Prabhupada asked him one question, and this question is the most difficult question you can ask the spiritual master. And he asked, how can I serve you? This is a very difficult question, because how means I'm open to anything you say. Who is open to anything? Anything, How can I serve you? I do anything you want me. And you say, okay, then stay here, shave your head, and chant 64 rounds with me. And you say, oh, I'm not really ready at the moment. So this is the real thing. How can I serve? This is the ultimate question. But we can ask question, how can I make progress? How can I, as a grihasta, best use my time and whatever resources to serve Krishna optimally? And I'm at this level right now, and I cannot be dedicated like these other brahmacharis, but how can I, from my standpoint, make spiritual progress? I think this is a decent question. And what can I help you? How can I help you in your mission to serve your spiritual master? Tadviri pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. And then we have to expect whatever the answer we get, we should try to take it to our heart. There was sometimes, if you go to a sadhu and you ask him some foolish question, you may get actually you may offend the sadhu. So therefore, better be ready to know what you exactly want. Okay, I want to take a darshan, and I want to ask for blessings that I can somehow keep my Krishna consciousness. Whatever we have, whatever the reason we have, or whatever the way we have. Satisfied or more? The main thing is we have to, somehow or other, the whole thing is this learning from this earth and this and that, so that we can somehow or other become introspective and try to make progress for ourselves. It's good for ourselves. Because spiritual life is good for us. It's not like now you have to become the member of the Hindu religion or member of the ISKCON, this is, we have better, ISKCON is better than the other religion, This is not the point at all. The point is it's good for you. It's very good for you. Whether you are visiting ISKCON, whether you are living in ISKCON, whether you are brahmachari, whether you are grihasta, sannyasi, it's good for you. So that's why that's why I'm doing it for so many years. I don't particularly, when we're talking, in our times when we joined, nobody was vegetarian. Nobody. To be vegetarian was like you came from the Mars, vegetarian. Isn't it weird, But so I became vegetarian not because I like to be vegetarian. I became vegetarian because Krishna eats vegetarian food, and I offered to Krishna vegetarian. That's all. And all this thing, whatever we do, clothes, what I wear, it's not I particularly like these clothes. It's just, this is what devotees of Krishna wear it, and Krishna likes it. And this is what I do, why I'm doing it. As simple as that. And this is how we should always think. This is actually good for me. This process is good for me. Okay, anything else, or should we close the day and get on with our program with Harinam Sankirtan? Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya. Gaura Bhaktavinda.